Good morning. This is Debbie with Oak Hill Estate here in Macomb, Mississippi. I wanted to, it's been a while since I have been on video, and I wanted to go on this morning and tell y'all a few things to help some of the brides and the bridesmothers out on what a lot of times that you forget on your wedding weekend. And I kind of wanted to go over that with you, that I find here at the venue that is a lot of times forgotten or not thought about until after. So this is in no particular order. These are just things that I have thought about that has happened here, and want to tell you about them. I was going to say 10 things, but I kept adding things and adding things and adding things because there's so many things that you don't think about that seem like they're, I don't know, minute little things, but I get asked. I get asked every single wedding, do you have this? And so, venues like mine, I try to have, what you need and what you're missing, but a lot of venues don't. So whether you're using our venue or you're using a different venue that's fabulous, you want to make sure that you have these things that you can have a smooth and seamless wedding day. One of the things is a coordinator. A coordinator is a must. I mean, a must. A coordinator is going to help things go smoothly. If you're getting Aunt Jane or whatever to do it, make sure Aunt Jane is bossy and knows everybody in the wedding party and is very organized. And she has nothing else to do besides that one job on wedding day. So don't give Aunt Jane, quote Aunt Jane, many jobs. Let her do coordinating, and that's going to be job enough herself. So number one is make sure you have a coordinator. It's important, whether, like I said, you don't have in the budget to get one, get a bossy family member. It is important that you have one. They're going to tell people when to walk down the aisle, when make sure that you're on time. No one likes a bride that's 45 minutes late to their own wedding. These guests have showed up for your wedding on time, and it's important that you be on time, which means that you also need to be on time for your wedding day, which means that you need a coordinator to make that happen. If you think that you can do it yourself, you're going to have a million things to do that day and to think about, and it's a little overwhelming how many things that you're going to have coming at you. So definitely you don't do it, get someone else to do it. The second thing is a cake knife. A cake knife is something that is often forgotten. I love it when the parents or grandparents brings their cake knives and have used it in their weddings, and then they're using it in their child's weddings, and then their granddaughter's wedding, or whatever the case may be. But a cake knife is something that, especially one that's passed down. If your grandparents have one that your parents used and that you want to use in your wedding, definitely go ahead and pack that because you don't want to forget that. If you're here at Oak Hill, though, we have cake knives and things like that here for you to use, so you don't have to worry about it. But just if you have that special one that you want to use, definitely need to go ahead and pack that in your wedding items early. The next thing is a card for each other. You know how the bride and groom write something, a lot of times they get it on video, a note to their bride or groom about how happy they are to be marrying them the day of, and those type of things. And 9 times out of 10, you're writing it upstairs because you have forgotten about it, and your bridesmaids are asking you 1,000 questions. Everybody's coming at you, and here you're trying to write this special note that hopefully y'all are going to be looking at years and years to come, reading to each other, and you're going to be like, what in the world was I thinking? Anyway, so make sure that you have written that note to your future spouse earlier than your wedding day. That's definitely important, I think. And that way you can really think about what you want to say. Pins for the guest book. So a lot of times you forget that beautiful pen that you want your guest to write with your on your guest book when they arrive. And there's all kind of fun ways to do a guest book, but whatever your guest book is, make sure that you have pens to do that with. Phone chargers. You would think that amongst all the people in the wedding that are going to be here, that you can find a phone charger somewhere, and you wouldn't believe how many times that nobody has a phone charger. So make sure that you have a phone charger. Um, Delegating someone to collect cards and gifts. So, a lot of times I'm outside if I'm not coordinating a wedding, and running on the golf cart with people, and I'm picking up guests, and those guests have presents, and they don't want to haul that present through the wedding and then to the reception and whatever. So they want to go ahead and get rid of it. So make sure that you have some little tea girls, or, somebody there, that special cousin or niece or nephew that you love dearly, to gather up gifts and from your guests. So make sure that you have that. Napkins and cups for the bar. You wouldn't believe how many times that, in fact, how many times it's been that I started supplying them at the venue, that you can buy here at the venue cups, extra plates, cups, forks, napkins. Those are the things that are forgotten, believe it or not. And whether it's your caterer who runs out and only supplies so many, or whether you're having a bar and you've forgotten that caterer doesn't supply stuff at the bar. So you have to get napkins and cups for things at the bar. And that's your job to get that, not unless you've hired a bartender to do that for you. You need to get extra cups, and don't get one per person, because believe me, if you've ever had a bar, if you've ever drank a glass of sweet tea at a wedding, how many times do you go back? And do you use the same cup really, because you can't find it because you've laid it down? So make sure you probably have 2 to 3 times the amount of cups that you need per guest, because you're going to need them, and as well as napkins. So not only talking about cups and plates and that type of thing, you also need napkins and plates for the cake table. So if that caterer has not supplied the cake, so they have not brought this cake, that means that they don't have to have plates, and they don't have to have knives or forks for that station. So you have a cake that you need forks, and you need plates for, and you need napkins for, because the caterer did not bring that cake. So therefore, they're not going to supply the things for that. So that is the number one, I think, thing that is forgotten here at the venue, is that cake that you've paid somebody to bring, and the caterer's like, no, I don't have, extra plates and napkins and forks to put at the cake table. And you're like, oh my gosh. And guess what? If you're at Oak Hill, we do have those. I have them in my office right over there. So all you got to do is check with me, and I'll, write you a ticket for it, and you can pay me later, and we'll go ahead and supply those for you. But if you're at a different venue, you might not going to be as lucky. I don't think I've been at any venue other than ours that maybe has those things. So definitely that's something to think about. Let's see, what else? Needle and thread. Needle and thread. We've had bridesmaids bust out of stuff. We've had something not go on right on the bride's dress. Many things. Something has come off a button, or something off the groom's suit, or something like that. So you need a needle and thread to bring with you. I would bring several different colors of thread, especially I bring white for the bride. I would get the color of the bridesmaids' dresses. I would bring that color, and I'd bring a color that is the color of the tux of the groom, whether it's navy blue, black, whatever, gray, whatever it is. Make sure you have those three colors of thread because you're probably going to need them, especially bridesmaids. Bridesmaids, buttons and snaps and everything always comes off, and also on the wedding dress also comes off. So things that you need to sew back on. So definitely make sure you have your needle and thread handy, and preferably your mother or grandmother that knows how to use it because these young kids usually don't. Scissors. Scissors is important. You wouldn't believe how many times you use scissors when you're decorating an event. And whether you're decorating or somebody else is decorating, you're probably going to need some scissors. You know how many scissors we have been through at this venue? I bought so many scissors, you wouldn't believe it, because they walk off. So I keep scissors around all the time for that purpose because you forget them. And so I usually have it, but I've, I started not even putting them out because they get taken so many times. And, I've probably bought 100 pair of scissors. That's at least $100 or more, So think about your scissors. You need to bring those. Your wedding bands. You would think that would be one of the first things that you pack, but actually, it's a lot of times those things are forgotten. So you definitely need to make sure that you go ahead and put that with your wedding supplies. Um, okay, girls. Let's see. I want to. Okay. So I have a note on here. A lot of times, like the bride and groom don't get to eat very much the night of, and so you need to get someone, whether the caterer or someone in the family, to put in charge of making sure that you have a basket or plates or something to bring along with you on your honeymoon, so that you can at least, when you're winding down, that night and kind of thinking about everything that's happened, you can kind of have a snack, or you're going to be hungry then. And then you're going to want to eat all that wedding food that you didn't have a chance to eat at your wedding. So make sure you have someone in charge of that, so that whether it's the caterer or whether it's someone in your family, to go ahead and pack a basket for you. The last thing I really have that is usually needed and is always asked for, let's see, razors, breath mints. I've got on here, a lot of times, Shout wipe and goes or whatever they are. They're, especially bridesmaids, they always need those to get it out of your clothes or got some food dropped on it or something. So kind of the Shout or Tide wipe and goes, some Tylenol. Band-aids, you wouldn't believe how many times we have need band-aids. That's a big thing that people need, believe it or not. Girls, tampons, deodorant, and of course, what I tell my boys as smell good, which is cologne. You definitely want to make sure that you smell good for your guest and you don't hug them all stinky and whatever, and have your breath mints, so that you can be nice and fresh all day and as beautiful and smell good as you are beautiful. Anyway, I think that's all I have to say for some things that are forgotten, things like that. And I got one more little tip, that is not necessarily things that you've forgotten, but a little tip that I am finding that is really, really, it kind of grates on me to how bad it's really gotten, and it's a pet peeve of mine. So I want to go ahead and tell you, but it's not amongst the things that you've forgotten. It's amongst one of the things that you should not do. And probably put another segment on here about that, about do not do this. But you do not need to be taking pictures when your guests arrive. So if you have a coordinator, you're going to be timely and you're not going to be doing this. If you have a photographer that's on time, and you have a coordinator that's making her on time, then you're not going to be doing this. You're not going to be out there when your guests arrive. But it's just tacky to be out there taking pictures while your guests are walking up, and then get mad because your guests are walking up and you're taking pictures and they see you. So, whose fault is that? So we need to, be on time, have that coordinator to make you on time, and make sure that you give the photographer a checklist so that she can go bam, bam, bam by the list and everybody's ready when they're supposed to. And that's where that schedule is going to come into play. And that's where the coordinator is going to come into play to make sure everybody's on time so that you will not be outside taking pictures when your guests arrive and when I'm pulling around with the golf cart with your guest. So that's just a little tidbit for me. I thought I would share and hope this little list helps you in your wedding day. And I wish you well. And if you're at Oak Hill, no worries because I've got the majority of these things already here for you. But if you're at other venues, make sure you go ahead and pack that early because it'll be something that you'll need, I guarantee. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.